we are a bank which has what it needs to have to make these new phases that we are entering. And this new phases is really linked to technology. So we are basically a tech company, a software company with a banking license. And we have the strong motivation to basically challenge a little bit the game of banking and to bring new value propositions to the market. And this is very exciting. You work on giving your clients on new segments, new possibilities. This is just amazing.
I mean, it's a lot about access. It's a lot about access to new asset class, as you say, or to break them down to retailers. What was the most important also in terms of purpose that Swissquote serves?
It was always to empower to make better financial decisions with the portal. And this empowerment is always what is the driving force for our company. We always think, okay, what can we do basically so that our clients have more access to new asset classes or have more information or new tools. The purpose, that is important to understand, has never changed.
Welcome to this edition of AssetRush Talk. Today I'm here with Jan from Swissquote. He was very relevant in the development of the company, of one of the most successful, if not the most successful Swiss fintech and bank in our universe. So Jan, welcome to the AssetRush Talk, and please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Jan. I'm working at Swissquote since now nearly 10 years. I started as head marketing with no idea of banking at all. Before I worked at McDonald's, I worked at Carlsberg, I worked at advertising agencies, so come from a different background, but I think that was an advantage. And then after a few years, I've been promoted as Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, member of the executive management. And in that function, I'm responsible for marketing, sales development, but also the product strategy.
Can you tell me a couple of highlights that you had in these years?
One highlight, for instance, that was the crypto trading. So in 2017, we were the only one at that stage that offered this service so that you could buy, sell Bitcoin and then other cryptocurrencies. And that was a driver of new clients. Then a few years later, we worked on a project called U, which is the neobank, also very successful and also created new drive to the development.
And how does that reflect in terms of accessibility? Are you planning to open new markets as well, or more of that accessibility?
Accessibility, of course, is key. And I think when you look and compare Swissquote with others in the market, so you will see that nobody has this broad access to the market. But it's not only about, of course, the market, it's also about other value propositions. When you look basically how the company is growing, so then we have two axes of growth. On the one side, we have Switzerland, and in Switzerland, it's really about making Swissquote relevant for more people. You can also use the platform for investing purposes, for saving purposes, for making payments, as a real, credible alternative to traditional banks. And in the international markets, there it's a bit different. So there we are positioned a little bit higher. So it's really about attracting affluent and high net worth individuals that want basically investment service from a Swiss bank and who are happy basically to do it with us.
Where are you present today?
We have a banking license in Luxembourg, Swissquote Bank Europe, in Malta for the fund custody business, in London, we have an office in Cyprus, then we have two offices in Dubai, we have an office in Singapore, we have an office in Hong Kong, and we have also now an office in South Africa.
And in terms of how did that development go, where is the main focus in these areas?
The maturity of the development stages is not equal. So the most mature, of course, is Swissquote in Switzerland. We also a mature business in Europe. In Dubai also, we're quite advanced. And then there are other markets like in Singapore or South Africa, where we work mainly with external asset managers. So here we don't have a direct to customer approach. So we go via asset manager. And this is a good model to start developing the market.
And the asset management business overall takes, I guess, more relevance in that development then?
Absolutely. absolutely. I think we have a good platform and a good service, and we're working on that to make it even better, so that an asset manager who wants to serve his clients, basically he can use our technology solution, he can use our broad market access to serve his clients, and that it is appreciated, and is one of our growth levels that we have.
And how will that continue now in the vision of Swissquote? Where does that lead you? Does that lead you to many more markets, or just to intensify in the regions that you're present right now? And is that also very much focused on the infrastructure, and maybe with that also to more multipliers like in the asset management space?
So the infrastructure is scalable. Then, of course, in every market that we are present, we still can grow. So even in Switzerland, where we are number one in our field, we can still grow, and we can become more relevant. In Europe, we are just at the beginning in terms of our growth. In Asia, we can grow via the asset manager at that stage. So we have opportunities for growth everywhere, which is nice.
Maybe the expectations for you in the next 5 years. Where do you see Swissquote in the next 5 years?
We are a bank which has what it needs to have to make these new phases that we are entering. And these new phases is really linked to technology. So, technology has its shifts and these key moments. We had the key moment with the rise of the internet, which has led to Swissquote as an online bank.
Absolutely.
Then we had the iPhone moment, which was an important one, that has led now to neobanks, which are only on the mobile. So we are present there. So we were even one of the first with a mobile app. And now we are in a new important phase where we have the artificial intelligence, which will redefine banking again. And because we have this expertise internally, so we will not miss that.
That is, of course, a very hot topic. Can you shine a little light on that?
Maybe let's elaborate a little bit what it means,
Sure.
This artificial intelligence for banking. So on the one side, we have the whole problematic with the fraud. And if you're doing payment service, fraud is a real issue. So you need artificial intelligence basically to fight this fraud, to detect the fraud, basically to keep your banking operations clean. So this is one element that we integrating artificial intelligence. The other one is efficiencies. So you need to have efficient banking operations, especially basically if you are a digital bank and if you're a neobank, where you have to really work very, very cost efficiently. So this will change the way we are working in the back office, in marketing, in different departments, also in compliance. And then, and this is the most important part, it's really the interaction with the client. And I think here is really what will make the difference between different banks. I think everybody will have efficiency gains, but who will really master the relationship with the client and basically make this relationship more real-time, more personalized, more relevant, and here are endless opportunities.
So what is the vision there for Swissquote? How far can that go?
So basically, if an investor said, okay, I would like to invest in an airline company, he could then, for instance, ask the question with the AI and say, okay, what are basically the KPIs I should consider if I want to evaluate different airlines so that I have an idea basically what is the most promising airline to invest in. So I think we will see a different kind of engagement. It will be an interaction based basically on the history that you had with all the transaction that we know, and also based on the enormous
data pool that
we can feed. So we will see some spectacular movements in that
So
sense.
you're moving closer to advice?
Without giving the precise advice. So I'm sure there will be discussions with FINMA. We're gonna have to involve them and explain exactly what we are doing. But it's really about empowering. It will never be, I think, you have to buy this and that. The way we give information, which might already be there on the platform, it will be just much faster and more concrete and more personalized and more relevant. So it really will be a game changer.
Absolutely right. That's already into that next question and about the emerging trends. Anything to add from that side?
The trend which is here, has basically two consequences. The first consequence is that it will allow more people basically to do the trading themselves, to really invest without advice, because they come to the information, they can make the analysis easily themselves, they will have more confidence. Then the other way we will benefit is basically AI will help basically making our service accessible also to more wealthy clients who so far would like to use our platform, but not completely, because they still rely on human advice for particular questions.
Then also, like, you went from a digital commercial bank to a universal bank, and from a universal bank you also look at that more closely, going into the more high-scale private banking parts.
What we aim to do is you have this wealth pyramid, which is there, and with the U brand that we have 50-50 in post-finance, we are able basically to cater to the really mass retail market, which allows us then with Swissquote to go into the mass affluent, to the affluent, and even to define a service for elite clients who are high net worth individual. So we have really also relationship managers. We have a special telephone line and all these services to really show to the people that we are not just basically here for small trades, but you can use us also to invest your millions at our bank.
Okay, that broadens the spectrum quite immensely. Now, by broadening the spectrum, you mentioned also human services or direct interactions. That sounds a bit controversial to the digital revolution. How do you capture that into the platform? How you bring more services to a digital bank like yours?
The platform is designed basically that it is so accessible, so intuitive, so that somebody can really do the operation themselves, that he is confident, that he finds the information that he needs, and if he doesn't, then we are here.
You're still here, and there is the human touch.
And the human touch is important because the satisfaction of our client is what is most important to us.
Wonderful to hear that you're so customer-centric and still brought that all out of a digital and wonderful experience, but it sounds like a perfect marriage of the two, right? So in that perfect marriage, how do you really focus on the service-oriented mechanism? How do you align your team also around this service-oriented mentality and purpose?
What we are doing is we are listening very hard to the client, what they're saying. So we have a complaint report, and this complaint report is shared with all the employees. And I read it every week. I read the complaint report, so I know, okay, what are the mistakes that we have done? Where are basically the pain points in our customer journey? And we address these pain points. So I speak to the people, and then basically it comes to our development roadmap, and we fix these pain points. Another one is we have company objectives, and in the company objective there is also an NPS objective, so Net Promoter Score, which basically says how happy that the clients are with our services. And if we have a good NPS, then basically everyone in the company has a better bonus. And this is very powerful message. So it's really about living this customer orientation, so that everybody knows we have to do our best to deliver a good service. So it is really hard work to have a good service and to becoming better day by day, but this is really something that we strive for.
Would you say that the biggest common denominator is the people that are working with you?
The people are key. So it's having the right people, recruiting the right people, giving the environment, the special environment, so that people can develop and that they are excited to work on ideas, on new services. This is absolutely.
Is that a lot about Switzerland? And is a lot of these impulses, are they stemmed from Switzerland, or how international is that today?
We are still quite Swiss-centric, so we're a Swiss bank, and we think Switzerland is a great place.
Yes, sure has a good base.
It's a good base. We also hope that Switzerland keeps an open economy. The software engineers we have from Switzerland who have done the ETH, but it's not enough. So we need to recruit from external. We also have development units in Bucharest, and we work sometimes also with other places, but there is an advantage of having the people on the ground together, and that's also why we are building a new headquarter. We are building a 60-story building, and this is the idea of having everybody together and really to having this collaboration. And if people are together, that's where the magic happens. You can, of course, you can do home office, but in the home office, it's more a linear process. It can be efficient, but if you really want to innovate, it's good to be together.
Speaking of that wonderful topic, home office and bringing people together, how does that work? How is the working ambience at Swissquote today? How is that culture forming? How is that building together?
This is something we want to foster. So how do we foster that?
Yeah.
So we foster it, for instance, with a pub. We have a Swissquote pub at our headquarters. We also have a pub, a restaurant here in Zurich. So I'm often there after work and drinking a beer, and people can approach the leadership team, and then there is a discussion, basically, which is not hierarchical at all. So you can share ideas, concerns, and that creates a good spirit. Then we also, when we have success, we make parties, we celebrate the success, we bring people together, and we have a lot of young people, and young people like to come to the office to have a good time together. So it's really pleasant to see that.
Are you trying to expand that also to your clientele?
Our client basically is part of the community. We do, for instance, once a year, we have a Swissquote trading day. There is one in Zurich, there is one in Geneva, there is one in Luxembourg, and clients like that. The 800 people last time who came to spend the day with us, and this is very appreciated. And you feel that Swissquote is more than a bank, it is a community, and this is something that we want to live.
Now, speaking of community and maybe also the broader landscape, if you would summarize it, what is the one differentiating factor for Swissquote?
We dare to be different. And I think this is a great spirit to have and say, okay, if we want to be relevant in that market, we have to be different because there are so many banks out there, and there are so many banks who are doing a decent job. So we have to think, okay, what is our role in this banking sphere? How can we be different, and how can we bring the technology and the customer need together? What can we do differently, basically, to give access to new opportunities?
What solves the problem and what feeds the purpose?
So it's really about client-driven.
Yeah, and you, as said, did a great job because, I mean, you in many innovations, you've been the first. In many innovations, you really showed the difference to the market and to your clients. So I congratulate you on that and continue that way. So we get to this last piece here on my questions.
The most difficult, I guess.
I would say the biggest one in reality check, because you said on Moneyland that there's always a time to invest, as long as the client really wants to. Now, define that a little bit better. I guess everybody wants to invest, from my point of view. Everybody is interested in investing, but oftentimes it's also about timing. It's also about the right access to it. So how would you summarize that? Basically,
nobody really knows when is the right timing to invest. So there are a lot of people who are analysts, who are nicely paid, who give forecasts. But if you then read the forecasts 1 year later and say, okay, was he right or was he wrong? You see that basically nobody really knows the future because the future is so complex. But it's for sure, investing in the stock market over the long term is a good investment, and you just have to start one day, and the best day to start is today. If you have never invested, you don't need to basically understand everything what's going on, every asset class, every different company. You really can do it, and it's possible. So get invested, get involved. That's the mission that you support, and that's certainly also what you claim and what you bring to your clients. So Jan, thank you very much. I hope you continue this great journey with Swissquote. I guess whole of Switzerland is behind you. Everybody that you meet and certainly made contact with your platform, I guess, is a fan of yours. So I look forward to see a lot more, and I thank you very much for this talk. Thank you very much, Philippe. Thank you.
Gut, wir haben